Okay, let's see a little tutorial on how to continue with what we saw in the previous video. When we have generated the final model, we have this option to move between the modes. We could go back to the blocking mode to work with the branches, change proportions, create another pose, etc. Or we could regenerate another final mesh for this other pose. Let's go to the panel to generate. As always, we would follow the steps: prepare, generate meshes, join or knot in a mesh all the different branches. We're going to join them into a single mesh. We give the voxel value for the remesh, and when we have the value that seems right to us, we apply. Again, here we would have another new model, ready to sculpt or follow the usual workflow we have. And so, we can make as many models as we want. We generate a new final mesh with different poses or proportions, etc. We return to blocking mode. Now we can change the proportions of the model a little bit and regenerate another new model. I'm going to show the parent indicator again, to reposition these fingers well. Well, just something like that, just a sample of how to change the proportions easily and regenerate a new model. We go back to the panel of Generate, Prepare, Generate Models. This time we are not going to join them, we will leave the branches loose. We do the remesh, and now, we will have the objects of what were the branches separately. So, we have generated different models, and if we switch to Surfaces mode, we will see that here we have the three models that we have generated. Here is each model. Every time we generate the mesh, we have it left in this store, which we can enter by switching to Blocksurfaces mode. So you can see the mode that you're in, and this one has the final meshes. Now, to continue working with the model, we could go back to blocking mode and we could regenerate another new mesh that would go to that Surfaces store, and we can swap between modes. Notice that for each generated model we have it here in a different collection. The meshes generated in block surface mode are meshes with remesh. Then, we have blocking mode, where the branches are, and readapt them as we want. We're going to delete these objects to leave it as it was. Then we have the blocking mode to work with the branches, and surfaces mode to save the final meshes. I will leave here a video of the manual in which all this is explained more about the modes, do not miss it. Now, let's look at how to combine the two. Let's see what these custom zone options are for. Better with an example. If I select this final object, we give it a name, and if we check Edit in Blocking, when we create or move here with this button, it will create a new collection for us. This collection will be editable in blocking. We will see it with this suffix kernel. These branches are the ones that are in blocking, so when we go to blocking we can work with the final mesh and also with the branches. Now, if I uncheck it and go back to blocking mode, we won't have that mesh available in blocking mode anymore. All the final meshes I still have in block surface, but we can tell the addon that some are available in blocking mode. So with that option we can move meshes between those two modes. Now we'll join these two models together. We're going to move them to a single new collection accessible from the blocking mode. If we go to the end meshes, now we're going to join these two into a single collection with the name, and we're going to allow it to be edited in blocking mode. We move them, and now when we go to blocking mode, there, we'll have the branches and the final meshes. Meshes with remesh, but in a collection that is marked as editable in blocking mode. Okay, as we have seen, that we can use collections with end meshes, checking or unchecking this option. We've seen how to move between the different modes. Now, let's see how we could use standard Blender objects, which don't belong to branches, or generated meshes, standalone objects. Let's see how we could use them in blocking mode. Let's create an object to see an example. So, to use this object with the branches in blocking, we should also use the custom zone option. We will simply save this object in a collection to which we will say that it is editable in blocking mode, we mark as editable in blocking. And we move it to that collection. Now, we already have a collection like the final meshes and with the possibility of editing in blocking. This way we could use any object you prefer to model by hand with the branches. We can also use this to generate new final meshes. We do the process of generating final mesh, remesh, and applying. There we have the independent object included in the workflow with the branches. So, if we want to include objects in the blocking with branch, this is the mode if we then want us to be able to generate final meshes that include them. Here I should leave you one more video of the manual where there is a faster method to do this. I hope to leave it up here, where you can see the option, Make Real. Don't miss it. There you will see another way to generate final meshes and work with them in blocking mode that may interest you. Well, as you can see, the add-on is designed to work with many collections, with the names of these. So, I would always recommend allocating an empty Blender scene to work with block surface. When we generate the final mesh we can take it to a clean scene to continue with the workflow we have, with sculpture, retopology etc. But this scene with all its set of collections and so many objects would be reserved for a place to do the blocking. It's the best way to avoid problems with block surface collections, and taking from here the models you want, for your next step in your workflow. Well, as always, I hope you liked it and find it useful. Thank you very much for your support.